Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger, and do I have something good cooked up for you today? Well, I hope so. Hopefully, you're going to like it. I'm going to talk about my secret sauce and also 3 simple steps to help you find your audience, find your people, and build a business off of something that you're passionate about, interested in, and knowledgeable about. So I know some of you get my emails, you're on my email list, and last week, that would have been May the 1st, I believe, I sent out an email talking about my secret sauce. And I had a podcast interview. I was interviewed on somebody else's podcast, and they asked me, one of the questions they asked me was, what is your secret sauce? And so thankfully I had some time to think about this beforehand. I actually had the questions in advance. It's always nice to be a little bit prepared going into an interview. And I thought about it. What makes my business special? What do I feel like I do well? Is how I took that. And guys, there's not a right or wrong answer to this. There's this podcast interviews other people who run their own businesses. It's a CEO podcast essentially, and I'm a CEO of my company, even though we have a very small one, mainly me and my wife and some virtual assistants. But I am a CEO, so I got invited on this podcast. And one of the questions that this gentleman always asks is, "What is your secret sauce?" And I thought, man, that's a really good question, because it kind of gets to the heart of somebody's business and what is it that they feel like they do well or that makes them special or makes their business special. And so I thought about it, and here's what I told him. I said that my secret sauce was that I pray as though everything depended on God, and I work as though everything depended on me. And that's a quote from St. Augustine, lived hundreds of years ago. And it's been a favorite quote of mine for a long time because, guys, that kind of solidifies my whole life. And I wrote about that in the newsletter, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper into it because I got some really nice responses back. The people said that's exactly what they needed to hear right then and that day when they read it. And that means a lot to me. I love that feedback, guys. Let me know how I can serve you. Provide that feedback. If these topics, this show has been a blessing to you, let me know that, because that helps me. It helps me know that, hey, there's actually people that are getting this, they're listening to it, and it's meaning a lot to them. So that means a lot to me. But can I just get real with you for a second, guys? I know that, life can be hard, especially this thing that we're going through right now with the coronavirus, and we're seeing bad news everywhere. Everywhere you look, you see the bad news. And if you have news on for any length of time, it's just constantly replaying all the bad news because that's what sells. And you can get so discouraged if you continually watch that all the time. And so I just wanted to provide, again, some encouragement. Guys, back in 2008, I lost my job. And I have not had a real job since then. And guys, that's really a long time to be your own business in this ever-changing landscape of the internet. It's always changing, but my business looks absolutely nothing like it did in 2008. I've had to pivot so many times. We first started selling furniture on Craigslist and then eBay, then Amazon. And I think I've told this story before of when this was about 2012. It was April 2012. So about 8 years ago, woke up one morning and many of the ads on Craigslist were pink, which means they were deleted. Somebody had gone in there and deleted our ads. We believe there was some auto flagging software by a competitor that was deleting those ads. But guys, if you wake up one day and a large portion of your business is gone, imagine the fear that tries to attack when something like that happens. I know some of you have been through some very tough things, business-wise and personal. And but in business, you just have to pivot. I've had to pivot so many times, but let me tell you what happened, because I know that I've shared this before, and I know some of you aren't going to go back and listen to past episodes, and that's totally cool. But the Lord had it all planned out for me. He knew exactly that was going to happen. He knew that was going to happen in April 2012. But that summer was when I met Jim Cockrum, and that's when I won that auction. Jim had an auction for his book 101 Free Marketing, and Elaine and I were fortunate enough to win that auction, which included a 30-minute conversation with him. But instead of a phone call, I asked if I could fly up to Indiana and take him to lunch. My parents lived close to him, so it worked out really well. He agreed and spent 2 hours with us at lunch, talking to us, giving us incredible information, told us about Amazon FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. So at the time we were selling furniture, merchant fulfilled, which means we would get an order, we would ship it out. And now we learned about, wow, Amazon could take our smaller things. So we had access to all this other inventory that was much smaller that we could ship into Amazon. They store it for us, and we never had to touch it, or touch it very little. And that was a game changer for our business. And the Lord knew in April that was going to happen. He had that planned out. So I know some of you are facing things that look like closed doors. They look like opportunities that have been slammed shut in your face. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe things are dwindling. Your checking account is dwindling. You're living off savings. Guys, I'm here to tell you, the Lord sees that. He knows, and He has something better planned for you. And I cannot tell you how many times fear-filled negative attacks have tried to attack me. Things like, what if Amazon shuts down your account? What if this coronavirus makes you lose all of your customers? Because, I help people who are Amazon sellers, and what if their business gets shut down and that hurts me? And what if people don't buy my books? What if people don't listen to this podcast? I'm just wasting my time. What if nobody sees my emails? Nobody signs up for that promotion. Nobody signs up for this course that I'm putting out. Guys, every single day you are under attack with thoughts that want to get into your head and make you just fear everything. So let me tell you what my pastor says. He says, if fear is a bird, you can't stop it from flying over your head, but you can surely stop it from building a nest on your head. And guys, we're inundated with so many fear-filled news. Every single day we have thoughts that want to come and build a nest on our heads, into our minds, and cause us to make decisions out of fear, to cause us to act out of fear, to just not even want to get out of bed some days when that fear attacks you, guys. And I get it. I understand. I've been there. And I've had to pivot my business several times. We're not selling furniture anymore. There are so many things that we're doing now that we didn't before, either because new opportunities came up or because we had things that dried up and then new opportunities came afterwards, or even maybe not even right afterwards, but months later. But guys, the opportunities always came. Better things always came. The Lord has always seen the stuff that's happened and provided us with a way out. And so, that quote, pray as though everything depends on God, work as though everything depends on you. Great quote, but what does that mean? What do I do with that? What does that look like for me practically? Well, here's what I do. It means to me that I pray, and then I get to work on what I can control, and then I just do my best not to worry about what I can't control. There are circumstances like COVID-19 that none of us can control. We could not have predicted this. This is not something that we had planned, prepared for. It just happened, and we're all in this, and it can be scary. I get it, guys, but the Lord knew, and He's got a way out for us. He's got things under control. He's always taking care of you. He's going to take care of you now. But there are times when we're fearful, when we feel that fear. So what does a prayer look like? It doesn't have to be like a long, drawn out, 5-hour long thing. For me, it might be something like, Lord, I'm fearful about this. I'm fearful about my finances. Let's throw that in there, because that's something that it seems like every single person, can be tempted to worry about at times. I'm fearful about finances, my business. I'm fearful about my Amazon account. But then you say, okay, but I know that you're my provider. So I cast this care over onto you. That's all you got to say. I cast the care over onto you. You take care of it. His word says that you cast all your anxieties, all your worries, all your cares once and for all on him, because he cares for you affectionately and cares about you watchfully. That's a verse that means a lot to me. I'll find the reference to that and post it in the show notes. But he cares for you affectionately and cares about you watchfully. So cast those cares over onto him. And guys, sometimes you have to keep casting, because it's going to be like you give it to him, like, okay, you're good for 5 minutes. And then that fear comes attacking right again. And you have that temptation to take it back. Okay, Lord, it doesn't look like you've done anything with it for the past 5 minutes. So I'm going to take this back and do it myself. Don't do that. He's got it under control, guys. Cast it over to him and leave it in his hands. And then after you've cast the care onto him, then you just get back to work. Go back to do what you normally do. In a certain situation, like maybe your business, you're concerned about your business. There's certain things like COVID-19 that you can't control, but then don't worry. Do the things you can control. Work in your business on those things that you can control, and trust him with the rest. And then something else I like to pray is, after you've cast the care, say, and Lord, I ask for wisdom for this situation, and that you direct my steps, that you open the doors, you give me favor, you show me what to do, show me who to talk to, show me what courses to take, show me what products to sell, show me where my customers are, show me how to serve my customers. He'll give you wisdom, guys. He'll show you exactly what to do. You leave the things in his hands that you can't control, and you work on those things that you can. And that's what I've done in my life, and it's worked. And I am so not perfect. There are so many times when fear tries to attack me, and I'll take that fear on and wondering, what am I going to do about this? And you feel irresponsible if you don't do something about that situation. But the best thing to do is trust that you cast it over onto him, say, especially if it's something that you cannot control, something that's bigger than you, that your actions or your efforts aren't going to make a difference or make much of a difference right then and there. Say, God, I give this to you. I cast this situation onto you. Honestly, I'm fearful about it. It bothers me. It makes me anxious, but I cast this over onto you. I trust that you're going to take care of this and give me wisdom on what to do on my end. What do I need to do? It's not like, praying and then sitting back and just eating potato chips and watching TV all day saying, okay, I gave that to you, God, you're going to take care of it. I don't have to do anything. Now, in certain situations, maybe it's a health situation, there may not be much you can do. Maybe go to the doctor, eat right, take your medication, whatever that is. But as far as, actually bringing about the healing, or bringing about, if you need $100,000 or whatever, you may not know how in the world you'd ever do that on your own. Those big things, guys, you just trust him. You put it into his hands and have him take care of it. So for me, it's about praying and then getting to work, but your work is spirit-led, and you're trusting in him to produce those results that you could have never done by relying on your own self-effort. So it's definitely not, I see the situation, it's all up to me, I've got to do this or it's not going to work. My secret sauce has been, I work hard. I do the things that I know to do, but I'm doing it as the Lord's with me. I'm seeing him as, my business partner. And it's every step of the way saying, Lord, what do I do in this situation? Who do I talk to? How do I handle this? How do I set up this sales page? Guys, every little thing about my business, I am not afraid to ask for wisdom. And then then leave the results in his hands. Leave that big stuff into his hands. Do what you can. Give to him your little, and guys, he always multiplies it. His favor on you will put you at the right place at the right time. And I have experienced this so many times over my life, in my business, in my personal life, and my personal relationships. My story of meeting my wife, Melaine, is just a God thing. Amazing favor there. I lived in Indiana. She lived here in Texas. No way we should have ever met. But, someday I might talk about how that all happened. But he'll put you at the right place at the right time, like he did when I met her. So I could have never done any of that on my own. I know that. So my secret sauce is that I involve him in my business. I involve him in my life. I just pray that it's all dependent on him. And then I go to work on the things that I can control. But even when I'm working, it's like working with him right beside me, asking for wisdom, asking for direction as I go about my work. So that's my secret sauce. And as I said in my newsletter last week, unlike McDonald's, I'm happy to share what's in it because I believe it'll make a difference in your life. It'll make a difference in your business. Involve the Lord, and it'll be a game changer. All right, so switching gears here, guys. I hope you've had an opportunity. If you haven't, go back and listen to episode 37 when I had Kyle Boyer on. And Kyle loves paper airplanes, and he turned his passion for paper airplanes into a full-time income. He quit his job in January with a paper airplane business. Guys, it blows my mind when I hear that. When I heard about his story, I knew I had to get him on as a guest, and I'm just grateful that he chose to be on with me. And I hope that's gotten some of your gears turning. And if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it again, episode 37 at streamsofincomeradio.com. But Kyle took his passion for paper airplanes and turned it into income. Guys, you can do the exact same thing. Whatever it is, whatever that message is on your heart, if it's something that you feel is going to change somebody's life, or if it's just like a paper airplane passion, interest, knowledge, something that you're like maybe even embarrassed to talk about, that you're like, nobody's going to care about this topic. Yes, they will. I have a friend that loves 80s toys, snacks, and he's starting a podcast based on collectible toys. He's just he loves old cartoons, movies. He has lots of toy figures. His last episode that he did, actually his first episode, he brought out a Mork and Mindy doll, Robin Williams as Mork, and talked about the show, talked about where he lived when he got it. And it was just fascinating. Now that's not totally my subject, but I love seeing people take something they're interested in and do something with it. So what is that for you? I know that some of you, we talk on this show about selling physical products on Amazon, and that's awesome. I love that opportunity. I think that that's one of the easiest, lowest hanging fruit opportunities for people to get started. And it's honestly, guys, it's not something you have to be passionate about, and you don't have to love what you do. You really don't. I think it helps if you do. It helps you get excited about waking up on Monday morning to get back to work if it's something that you're just excited and love to do. But I know some of you just need to make a few $100 extra, and you're willing to go to garage sales or thrift stores and sell products online. Man, go for that. I love that opportunity, and it's brought so many of my students financial freedom. And I'm always going to champion selling physical products because it's something I've seen change people's lives. But if you're one of those that you feel like, man, you've already sold physical products for a while and you're looking to get into something that you're more excited about, or maybe you want to teach people how to do what you've done online, selling physical products, you want to teach a course on that. Maybe you've always had a message on your heart or something just bigger that you're supposed to write a book on that topic, tell your story. Well, there is an opportunity for you to turn that into income, whatever that topic is. And I know it can be so super overwhelming to look at that and wonder, how in the world are you ever going to get started doing that? How are you going to take that passion, that knowledge, that interest that you have and turn it into income? Well, guys, there's 3 simple steps. Don't make this hard. I try to simplify everything to boil it down to what you need to do next. And there are 3 simple steps to turning your passion into profit, to turning your interest into income, or I also say wisdom into wealth. Number 1 is you find your people. And number 2, serve them well. And number 3, you grow your audience. So let's dig into those. Number 1, find your people. So you have to know who they are. You have to know that person you're trying to reach, that your ideal audience, as we like to say. Who's that ideal person that you feel like that you can help the most? If you had to give them a name, a gender, it doesn't have to, I have men and women in my audience. I have all ages in my audience, but I feel really, really called. And I feel like my ideal person is that guy that goes to work every day, hates his job, wants to be home. Specifically, he's a husband and a father. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a single guy or you don't have any kids yet, continue to listen to me. I want to help you. But every single person I've learned from that have, it's farther along than me in business, say you have to have your ideal avatar, is what they say. You have to have that person pinpointed to what they like, what they do, who they are, as detailed as possible, as specific as you can be, the better, because you want to go out and find that person. That doesn't mean you're going to turn other people away who don't match that, but you're really hyper focused on serving that person. So you have to know who they are. You have to know where they hang out online, and you simply need to get in front of them and serve them well. That's the three things under finding your people. And so who do you feel like you can help the most? Who do you think is going to resonate the most with your message? And again, be as specific as possible. And then under finding your people is, where do they hang out online? There's so many places online to be hanging out. There's so many opportunities, so many social media sites, so many different blogs, different communities. But start with one, and one that we teach a lot, and it's a super easy way to find your audience, is Facebook groups. And you're probably already in groups that are about your niche because it's something you're interested in. Are there folks in those Facebook groups that you're already a part of that you can help serve? Are there questions that you're seeing that you know the answer to because you've been through that? Or you just have that expertise because you are an expert in this thing, whatever it is, you're the expert. And if you don't feel like you are, and act like you are, and answer those questions that you can answer, serve those people. If you're not in those Facebook groups, get in those Facebook groups, join those groups. And that's the third thing, is get in front of those people. So you find who they are, you learn who your audience is, where do they hang out online, and just get in front of them and help them out however you possibly can. And there's so many strategies to do this, so many different ways. You can look at YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram, and your mind can explode because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to be everywhere, and you're not focused. So we teach one place. Get involved in some Facebook groups, find those groups related to the niche that you're interested in, and start serving folks. Engage with them. If you see a question, especially if you see questions that you can answer them. It doesn't have to be very long, detailed question or answers that you give, just serve them well. And here's the magic that happens is when people see, oh my gosh, that Ryan is so super helpful. He seems to know what he's talking about. They're going to look you up. They're going to stalk you on Facebook. They're going to go to your personal profile. And that's where you have the opportunity to, or if you join that group as your business page, a little bit more advanced strategy, but if they're going to find out who you are, they're going to look you up. And when they're on that page, that's where you have an opportunity for them to learn more about you. You can put your business website, your Twitter handle, your YouTube channel link there if you have it. And Jenny and I talk about all that in our groups that we have. But then they're also going to private message you as well and ask for more information. When they do that, that's when you have the opportunity to give them your free ebook, a free download that you have, something to get them on your mailing list, to engage with them, to get them essentially into your funnel and be able to serve them even in a greater way when you have that book or have that course. So you find out who they are, where do they hang out online, and just get in front of them and serve them well. And let me tell you another secret. As you're going through those groups, you're looking for people who are asking questions. Look for themes. Look for people saying the same thing, asking the same question. Look for where people are getting stuck. Because if you know the answer to that thing, you know the answer to get them unstuck. If you can come up with a product or a service to get them unstuck, to get them past that obstacle, that could be your course. That could be a chapter in your book. That could be a lead magnet for you to get them into your funnel and serve and engage them even further. And Jenny and I talk about this and many more strategies, but we actually have a 7-day class starting May the 13th. 2020. And if you're listening to this after that, no worries. I'm sure we'll be doing this again. Just send me an email. We might even be able to get you the recordings of this class. But it's going to be a 7-day class where we go through all these strategies, things like how to find your niche, how to find your audience. We're going to go deep into each of those things. How do you engage with your folks? How do you grow that audience once you got a few people? And much, much more. That we are going to gear this to help you take action, to finally take that thing that you're passionate about, knowledgeable about, or interested in, and have a plan to turn that into income. So please, please, please join us. May the 13th is when we kick this off. Go to streamsofincomeradio.com and you'll see a link in the show notes for this. This is episode 39. And it's just that 7-day class. I'll have a link at the top of those show notes. And guys, I know that typically when you have a podcast or you have a newsletter, it's ideal to only have one call to action. And for this one, the main thing is the opportunity, the 7-day class that Ginny and I are going to do on May the 13th. But I also am super excited to tell you about May the 14th. Is going to be a free webinar that I'm doing with my friends Jimmy Smith, who was my guest last week. We talked about some outsourcing on this podcast, on his episode, and also Honey Woods is going to be on with me. She was one of my earlier guests on this podcast. But we're going to talk about the why and the how of outsourcing. I can guarantee you it's going to be good. But also Jimmy talked about outsourcing in his last episode, and it is one of the major keys that have allowed him and Brittany to see the amazing sales figures that they're seeing. He told us on his episode that they basically plateaued at $25,000, maybe could have gotten to 40, they believe, just the two of them. But guys, now they're selling over $100,000 per month. And as last time I talked to him last week, it was $180,000 in sales in the past month. Incredible. But he's doing it because he's outsourced. And he's bolted down parts of his business that has allowed him to focus on other things. And so excited for that, to talk about outsourcing, how you can use it in your business to allow you to scale and to grow. That's going to be next Thursday night, May the 14th, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Just go to streamsofincomeradio.com for that link to register for that free webinar. It's going to be super cool. Guys, that's all I got for you. Hopefully this has been helpful. I just really wanted to, again, encourage you with my secret sauce, the thing that's gotten me through my life, honestly. Praying as though it's all depends on him, and working as if it all depends on me. Yes, I work hard, guys. I do work hard, but I love what I do. But I'm working again, as I said before, I'm working like with God as my business partner, asking for wisdom and direction every step of the way. And the results have been great. So my business is growing. And yes, there are times when I get nervous. I get fearful about things going on. And that's when I just double down, like, okay, God, I need your help today. I really need your grace to get through this, to give me wisdom on how to handle the situation. And I'm excited for those of you guys that are going to join Ginny and I in our 7-day class that starts May the 13th. It's going to be super awesome. I'm going to help you finally put a plan into action for taking your passion, your interest, your knowledge, and turn that into income. So guys, thank you so much for listening. Please email me, ryan@ryanrieger.com. I love hearing how this podcast has benefited you, blessed you, encouraged you. It encourages me, because there are days when I wonder, hey, is anybody listening? And I know there are, because I can see the downloads. But it's still encouraging to get those notes, to know the people on the other side. And subscribe. That helps me a ton, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, because that helps me a lot. Guys, I appreciate you. I love all of you. Thanks for allowing me to come into your home, your car, wherever you are right now, listen to this. And we'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.